Good morning and namaste to all. Excellencies, colleagues, friends, media. I would like to thank our host for inviting me to address you here today. I've been asked to speak on some of the sub-themes of the overall title to the summit. And I've also been asked to explain a little bit what the European Union is doing on some of these themes in the overall framework of sustainable development. So I'll try to obey the brief. Every couple of years, new buzzwords emerge around sustainable development. Recent examples are resilience and connectivity, both of which were addressed in previous Himalayan consensus summits, which is testimony perhaps to this forum's ability to capture the zeitgeist and reflect the current directions of sustainable development. I'm not sure if a buzzword has emerged this year yet, but it strikes me that the main preoccupation right now is less with end states, but rather with process, specifically with the scale of the challenges and the pace of addressing them. Take climate change. The threat from climate change is not new, but it's certainly gaining in dimension. The link between climate change and migration, now clearly established, and the disruptive force of shifting populations becomes more evident every day. And climate change is now increasingly being described as an existential threat, one which puts our peace and security at risk. At the same time that there is a realization that this world is not moving fast enough to prevent irreversible and catastrophic climate disruption, there's also recognition that this is a challenge that demands common global efforts. In short, we need to scale up remedial action, we need to do it faster, and we need all actors working together. For all these reasons, the EU has designated 2019 as a critical year for climate change. The UN will hold a high-level political forum in July this year, which it judges will provide an invaluable opportunity to underline the synergies between climate action and the 2030 agenda. In a UN summit on climate change to be held in September this year, with the title, "A Race We Can Win, a Race We Must Win," in case we were any doubt about the urgency for action, the EU will call on all partners to raise the global ambition, to strengthen multilateralism, and to work toward the effective implementation of the Paris Agreement. The EU considers this summit to be critical in mobilizing the political will to be more ambitious on the agreement, to spur on transformative action by government and non-state actors. Upscaling action will require rapid and far-reaching societal transformation, environment protection, and economic transition over the coming decades, but the pace must be stepped up now. The EU will submit to the UNFCCC an ambitious long-term strategy by 2020. Part of that strategy will be the scaling up of the mobilization of international climate change financing as part of the collective developed countries' goal to jointly raise $100 billion per year by 2020 to 2025 for mitigation and adaptation purposes, from a wide variety of sources, including new contributors, instruments and channels from both the private and the public sector. Establishing proper support to least developed countries will be central to this effort. Over recent years, the EU has been active in supporting poor and vulnerable mountain communities in Nepal, mainly focusing on renewable energy infrastructure, conservation of ecosystems, increased resilience, better climate change mitigation and adaptation, and equitable socio-economic development for livelihood opportunities. To name just a few actions, we funded a project of community-based land and forest management in the Everest region and renewable energy project worth €15 million, Nepal's climate change support programme for €8.6 million, and the Himalayan project. The EU has been making efforts to scale up its investments in the infrastructure in Nepal, in particular enhancing connectivity, tourism and the energy sector, with a view to enhancing and promoting its climate change agenda, also seeking the support of other players, and most particularly the European Investment Bank. The growing interest and emphasis on development of the circular economy is another example of the realization of the need to take greater action, to work more together, and to work with greater urgency for the conservation of both natural and other resources to ensure minimization of waste and to promote sustainable development. The EU adopted its first Circular Economy Action Plan in 2015 and its second in 2018, with 54 individual actions ranging from legislation on single-use plastics to treatment of food and bio-waste to repair, reuse and recycle programmes. These actions have all now been delivered or implemented, which I think by any standards is rather fast work. In March 2019, the EU hosted the European Circular Economy Stakeholders Conference in Brussels, where policymakers and business leaders explore the action plan as a successful framework for the transition. The EU circular economy has contributed immeasurably to creating more jobs in Europe, to promoting innovation that gives a competitive advantage, providing monetary savings and an increased quality of life, all while advancing sustainable development. This is a win-win situation. The EU was awarded the 2019 Circular Economy Prize in Davos, Switzerland this year by the World Economic Forum and the Forum of Young Leaders in recognition of this work. However, the EU has declared it an open challenge to scale up and accelerate the circular economy and to bring more stakeholders from all sectors on board in this endeavour. In parallel, the EU has been working with other partner countries to replicate these benefits. In Nepal, pollution related to air, land, water and waste management are real problems that affect the everyday lives of the whole population. They've resulted in serious health hazards to people and damage to the environment. The EU over recent years has supported 4 different projects contributing to promote the circular economy, to increase visibility and understanding and the job opportunities it can create. These projects have contributed significantly to improving environmental conditions by promoting integrated sustainable waste management practices, conversion of waste into resources which generate additional income, for example, organic fertilisers, energy, reusable, functional and decorative items. But most importantly, it has been changing mindsets on how one can live sustainably. In addition, the Switch Asia programme, which is a regional programme, but one that includes Nepal, was designed to promote sustainable production and consumption, SCP, practices, transforming unsustainable to sustainable patterns of development and completing the promotion of the circular economy in Nepal. Climate change and the circular economy are just 2 areas where I see the need for urgent and integrated action being brought to the table. Management of natural and other resources, minimization of waste, doing no harm, sustainability of human and other resources, and improving livelihoods are all just as urgent and just as much in need of our attention. I believe this summit is very timely in bringing these issues up for discussion in the framework of a shared future, and the discussions here today will certainly make a meaningful contribution to sustainable development in the Himalaya region. Thank you very much. Danny Bath.